On today's episode of the Snack Run, we talk about our favorite cereals, drinks, and breakfast foods, have our second Q&A with viewers, and speak with special guest Jared Stotsky.
Let's get started. Okay, so for our first topic of discussion, we each brought some snacks again to the computers, and so we're just going to go around and introduce our snacks. So maybe Gank, kick us off.
Alright, I was in a bit of a rush today, so I just grabbed a pack of Little Bites.
Nice. What flavor?
Chocolate chip.
Nice.
All right, I'll go. Today I got a bag of microwave popcorn, butter flavor, always reliable. I think it's Orville Redenbacher, but I'm not totally sure. And then I got a ruby red grapefruit seltzer, which is, in my opinion, the best flavor.
I have a plethora of snacks today. I'm going just with the nice classic Fig Newton.
Nice.
Some pistachios.
Nice.
Shout out Jay Freeze when he asked us the question. I said mango would be one of my top three. I have some dried mango.
Hey.
And then I have a peach nectarine ice.
I can go. So I just grabbed some Oreos. No plethora from me, just a big pack of Oreos.
Nice. You know, Yono, it's actually funny that you brought Oreos.
No.
I
Because
was just about to say.
not exactly the same. But I have these Oreo
Oh,
lemon thins. Okay.
Those look really good.
Now, let me just say, I did bring these to a team dinner last year, and when I first broke them out, people giving them weird looks, saying, "Oh, those look gross, thin, like healthy, whatever." But let me tell you, once people started trying them, they were gone in about 2 minutes. All right.
They are good.
Wait, can we see them one more time? I don't think I saw them
Yeah.
very well.
All right. So it looks like we have our first guest in the waiting room. So we're gonna let him in and see what his top three are.
Hey.
Matthew,
Hello.
There we go. Hey, Matt.
What's up, Matt?
how are we?
I'm doing good. I'm doing okay. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for asking.
So, Matt, do you have a top three for us? We sent out a picture.
I do have a top three. Are we getting right into it?
I
Yeah.
think we can get right into it. Unless
Unless
you
you
have
have
any
other comments that you want the viewers to know.
So I'm going to start off with my top three cereals. Okay.
Sounds good.
Now, number one is a fruity cereal because fruit is fairly personal to me. It's a very personal taste. And I'm going with Trix.
Oh,
Now, Trix would not have been my number one had they not restocked the fruit shapes in the boxes. You remember how they took away the fruit shapes that are from the early 2000s, late 90s, and they went with just like the colored balls?
yeah, they had the balls for the longest
Right,
time.
and then they doled down even that a little bit, and they just went kind of monotonous colors, and they were just like no artificial colors were added. It was pure natural, and it just didn't have the same effect. And now they went back full fun mode, and they put back the fruit flavors, the fruit shapes, fruit colors. It's great.
They made a resurgence, you could say.
They did, yeah, and it just brought back a lot of nostalgia for me because I ate a lot of it when I was growing up.
I like that.
Two, right. Number two is probably the cereal that I don't necessarily get the most excited about when I see it, but when I taste it, boy, am I in for a show? Lucky Charms. Lucky Charms.
yeah.
No,
Nice. That's a good take.
No, I'm not always so excited just because of the little oat pieces that surround the marshmallows. But I sometimes underestimate what the marshmallows can bring, and boy, it's a whole lot of flavor, a whole lot of fun. Lucky Charms is my two spot. And now for number three, there's a little bit of a toss up. I wanted to go with the classic cereal, but also a little healthier. But I also, for my three, I did also choose something that I just get very excited about. So there's a little bit of a tie at number three. So the number three is a tie between Cheerios and Cocoa Puffs.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Oh, I had both of those in my top three as
I
well.
respect that.
Right now, some people say, whenever I say I like Cocoa Puffs as my top 3, people say, why don't you like Reese's Puffs? More than that, it's chocolate and peanut butter. But for me, I just like the simplicity that comes with Cocoa Puffs. Makes the milk purely chocolate. It's just a good eating experience. And with Cheerios, you always feel good after a bowl of Cheerios. So that's my top 3 or 4, if you will, for cereals.
Also, Matt, I have to ask: is this cereal with milk, or is this more just a dry cereal?
Oh, so I'm a big dry cereal snacker, and for me personally, I would say the best cereal to snack on is Trix. That's one of the reasons why it's so high, my number 1. But if it's up to me, a close second is Captain Crunch Crunch Berries.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to agree on that. That's a great one to just snack on.
There's a small chance that that's in my top 3. There's a small chance.
For pure snackage.
Do we go over our top 3 now?
Yeah.
Cereal. All right, Danny, you want to start us off?
All right. So first of all, I feel like my top 3 is kind of what I'm in the mood for right now, like in quarantine. So as a kid, this probably would be changed up, but I've had a pretty heavy cereal rotation in quarantine. And I don't think I've actually eaten cereal once with milk. I think I've had it almost every day, but I'm just snacking on it.
Dry.
So adding up from what Matt said, my number 1 dry is Captain Crunch with the Crunch Berries. You have to be in the mood. You have to know that they might cut up your mouth a little bit, but that's expected. And that's my number 1. Number 2, this might be for dry cereal, Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
That's
might be a little underrated.
That's phenomenal with milk too.
Phenomenal with milk as well, but you have to eat it quickly because
sogginess is.
But when it's dry, you can kind of just take your time at it. You have as much time as you like.
I will say I don't like how it's kind of very powdery and grainy with the sugar and the cinnamon. You can feel it. Some people like that. For me, it's not pure cereal. It's just it seems like it's
a hot take.
Standoff. Yeah, that's just me.
I completely agree that there's a lot of residue that comes with it. But it kind of reminds me of eating Doritos or other chips or cheese. You lick your fingers afterwards.
Also, when you have it with milk, that only adds to the experience.
I agree with
milk. You get all of it.
Fair, very fair. And then finally, rounding it out, Honey Nut Cheerios. Just the
good one. Yeah, that's good one.
Is probably one of just like an OG. That one's easily in there.
Nice.
A classic.
All right, I can go next. For me, I usually eat cereal with milk. I'm not a huge dry cereal guy, but actually when we were in school, my advisory would often have dry cereal as a snack, so I'd have that almost every school day. But for breakfast, it's always going to be with milk for me. And number 1 is going to be Crave, which are the chocolate-filled ones.
How did I not put that in my top 3?
Those ones.
Are you going to do the double chocolate or the just regular graham one?
It's a good question. They also actually have a s'mores one, which is
right.
I would personally go with original. I think that one's my favorite. And for me, it has to be served with milk. Crave at least. I think it's just the milk and the chocolate combination. It's a classic. It really just adds to this delicious soft chocolatey texture of the cereal. Number 2 for me is gonna be Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I agree with Matt on the point about it is a little dusty when you're eating it dry, which can honestly be a factor that puts me off a little. But with milk, I really enjoy it. It's one of my favorites. And then my number 3, also like Danny, is going to be Honey Nut Cheerios. I like it because you don't feel bad about yourself when you eat it because it's like Cheerios, even though there is some added sugar. It's not I don't consider it one of those sugary cereals. And it's definitely my go-to cereal when I need to get a quick breakfast in the morning.
So anyway, my number 1 cereal, this is just my personal favorite. I have it all the time. Honey Bunches of Oats. I love Honey Bunches of Oats. Just the standard flavor. I don't know, just something about it. You have the little clusters, and then you also have the flakes, and with milk, it's excellent. For number two, I'm also gonna have to go with a Cheerios variation, as a lot of other people said. Um, this one is one I've had. It's called Cheerios, like protein or something, but I don't know. It's Cheerios, and it has like kind of like the clusters from Honey Bunches of Oats almost. It's just like Honey Cheerios. I don't know why it's called Cheerios protein, but uh, just I haven't had that one too often, but I've had it once or twice, and it was very good. And then for number three, uh, I'm gonna go with Frosted Flakes, just because I um I typically my parents typically buy the healthier cereals, but as a kid, Frosted Flakes was like the one cereal that like I looked forward to having as like a unhealthy treat, I guess.
Have you guys ever had the cinnamon frosted flakes?
I haven't
They
tried
they
it.
put,
No.
they put those out a few years ago, and they're great. I would say it's somewhat better. I think the cinnamon adds a better kick to it than the original.
Hmm.
But frosted flakes is a good pick.
Yeah.
I will also say Frosted Flakes might have the best marketing out of any cereal. I feel like their commercials hit every time.
Oh yeah.
I can go. So originally, I had Honey Nut Cheerios as my number one, but I realized I completely forgot about Crave. Crave is, I'm not a big dry cereal guy, so I can't really speak to Crave, just handheld or whatever. But I think with milk, Crave is just phenomenal. Number two, I will put Honey Nut Cheerios. I think dry Cheerios are pretty good. I mean, by dry, not dry, I mean plain, like no flavoring. I think they come up a little bit short when you put them with milk, but they're pretty solid to have just dry. And then for three, I'm kind of gonna do what Matt did and have a tie. And that's gonna be between Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Fruit Loops.
Mm.
I had a tough time deciding between number one and number two, but I eventually went with Frosted Flakes as number one because I really like them with milk, and I also really like them dry, especially when you like put them in the fridge and get them cooled. They're really good that way. Number two, I had Lucky Charms because I think
Nice.
with milk they're the best cereal. And then number three, I had Life because I felt like I always considered Life as like a healthier option, so it makes me feel good eating it. So yeah.
I'm more than
I
happy.
agree for the most part with a lot of Matt's takes. I think he had some pretty universal answers and a couple really unique ones. So it was a pleasure to have you on, Matt.
Awesome.
I bet.
All right,
Peace
thanks
out, guys.
again.
Please, Matt.
All right, so we have our next guest in the waiting room, so we're gonna let him in.
What's up, Cam?
Hey,
March.
March.
Hello.
how's it going, Cam?
I'm doing pretty well, thank you.
Like the representing local businesses with the shirt.
Oh, thank you. I planned it
Great.
exactly for this.
A man that thinks ahead.
Indeed.
I respect it. All right, so Cam, so what we're doing today,
Of course.
I don't know if you saw the heads up at any point, but we're doing some top 3 countdowns today.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so if you want to choose one of those top 3 from the list of the 4 categories, and maybe go super in depth on your 3 choices, and then we'll go over ours after.
All right. So, I mean, I think the one that first caught my eye had to be breakfast foods. So I think unless you guys went really in depth on that last with Matt, I think that's a good one for me to go in depth on.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So breakfast foods, they have to be. I personally find that they have to be sweet in order to be really good. So I think it's really the big debate for me has to be between waffles, pancakes, and French toast. So that's what I think are my personal opinions, with omelet as a close fourth. I think third, probably the bottom tier of those 3 has to be French toast, just because I guess maybe they're not as light and fluffy, even though you can do a lot with toppings with them. I personally feel that French toast, I guess, of course, this is a tier list. Maybe they're just not as good, in my opinion. But yeah, pancakes are 2. I think you can't go really wrong with pancakes. They're very tasty, and if you go to a good restaurant for them, they're always going to be good. Homemade, as long as someone can cook like in an all right way, then they're going to be solid. But if you burn pancakes, then it's over for you. So I don't know. If that's my personal take on it. Again, toppings, maple syrup is great. Like, I love it with pancakes. You can do a lot with toppings. You can put stuff in it. Like, again, you can do a lot with that. So I don't know. It's very. You can kind of make it a style how you want, but my personal favorite has to be waffles. Yeah, I'm a big waffle guy. I've been having. My mom has made homemade waffles for my family once a week ever since I was 3, and I love them. They're amazing. I feel like you can't. I had waffles this morning. In fact, I don't think you can go wrong with waffles. I mean, Eggo is not preferred. All right, like freezer brand. I'd prefer not freezer brand. But yeah, Belgian waffles, homemade waffles, amazing. Toppings wise, you can do a lot with them still. Like, I don't think you can go wrong with a good waffle. So that's why.
I have a question related to that. Would you ever, in a snack situation, eat frozen waffles straight out of the package?
Frozen waffles straight out of the package.
Eggos.
Eggos. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan, but if it's in a dire situation and there may be 2 other options, I think I'll go for it.
Also, feel free to judge heavily one of our fellow members who prefers.
Wait, sir, you're saying the only situation in which you would willingly eat frozen Eggo waffles is if I pointed a gun at your head.
You could say so. You could say so.
Or in a life-threatening situation where the only source of food you had was frozen Eggo waffles right out of the bag.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I'd eat frozen Eggo waffles if I really had to.
There's one of the members of the snack run. This is not the
We
case
shall
for this
remain
person.
nameless.
Oh, I know. I know. Please fire back. Please.
Well, I'd argue that frozen Eggo waffles are more of a snack than a breakfast food.
All right. I didn't say that frozen Eggo waffles are my favorite breakfast food.
I know. I'm just saying.
I see. Okay.
All right.
I mean, you also eat 2 large Tango Mango burritos. Of course, it's a snack for you.
No holds barred.
Go support local businesses. Use DoorDash for Tango
Oh my
Mango.
god!
Support local businesses. Amen to that.
First, when it comes to mind, favorite breakfast food is bacon. But I feel like that was kind of too mainstream and not really a food. I mean, obviously it's a food, but it's not really like a breakfast food type.
That's the hot take right there. Bacon is not really a food.
No, I get what he's saying. It's a breakfast side.
Yeah, so I'd change it up. So I would say my favorite is an omelet
Yeah,
with
that's fun.
ham, bacon, mushrooms, and pepper jack cheese.
All right, you were doing
Mushrooms are always
so
good.
well, and then you
Omelets.
added mushrooms. That's how you ruined
Ah.
omelet.
No, I disagree.
mushrooms.
I
Wait, I
think
feel
mushrooms
like,
are a good addition.
Mushrooms is an adult taste buds. I feel like
Yeah, I think it's an acquired taste thing. That's
And I'm
I
a
agree with
kid.
Danny
You
there.
got me.
A
Congrats.
sign of
I feel
maturity.
like it's mushrooms and olives. You kind of grow into. Number 2 on the list. I was thinking about the pancake versus waffle debate. And in most cases, I'd have to go waffles over pancakes, except for the one exception, which is undefeated. The funny face pancake from IHOP
Hey.
Nice.
is one of the greatest creations of all time. Couldn't tell you exactly what's on it because I haven't had one in a little while, but all I know is that it's amazing. Then, topping off the list for 3rd, I'd go from Rest in Peace, the bagel place.
Yeah.
I'd have to go a triple double on a sriracha cheddar bagel.
Yes.
Okay, good
A
stuff.
triple double is obviously what it sounds like. It's your choice of you get 2 eggs, however you want to do them. You have to get 2 choices of cheese and 2 choices of meats.
I don't think you can go wrong with good bagel place bagel. What
Yeah.
drink do you get on the side with it?
So I usually would go chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Then there's a couple days that they had the strawberry milk in, which was clearly the choice.
Yes, I agree. I do agree with that.
Nice. So for my number one, I have chocolate chip pancakes. I just love pancakes. Chocolate chip really heightens the whole effect. Number two, a little bit of a healthier option: yogurt, granola, and berries. Maybe blueberries, maybe strawberries. Only one, not both. I think that's a great healthy breakfast. Gets you going for the day.
Is that more of like an at-home breakfast type thing versus like a restaurant type breakfast?
Yes, yeah, definitely. I would not order that at a restaurant. And then number three, I put cereal. Probably Crave because that's the number one I had. But all the other cereals that I listed would be great too. And as an honorable mention, I put like oatmeal.
Yeah.
I think oatmeal is a really healthy food. Really gets you going for a day, particularly if you're going for like a run at like 10 or 11 maybe. It's a great way to get some carbs in your system.
Yeah, oatmeal is my go-to breakfast. If
I like it.
I love
Maple
oatmeal.
and brown sugar.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah. Peaches and cream ain't bad.
All right. So actually, all of mine I think have been said, but just run through it. Number one, I'm gonna go with waffles. Just a personal favorite. You can have them just with some maple syrup, or with some fruit, and you can, if you have some blueberries, you can put the blueberries in the little grids. Yeah, waffles, just a classic. That's my number one. Number two, I'm gonna go with an omelet, and more specifically, a Western omelet, which is my personal favorite. Little ham, onion, maybe some peppers. And then number three, my number three is what Yona's number two was, and that's yogurt, granola, and berries.
Nice.
My personal go-to combo is strawberry chobani with berry granola and blueberries. So you have lots of berries there. It's just a great way to start the morning.
All right, I'll go. I'm gonna say my number one is gonna be hash browns. They're so good. One slight negative, they can get a little greasy, but I honestly don't mind. You can also eat it with a fork if you want. They can be prepared in a lot of different ways. Personally, my favorite would probably be the hash brown casserole at Cracker Barrel, which is so good. Then number two for me, probably going to have to be biscuits and gravy. I'm a huge fan of the Southern breakfast.
Southern take on it.
Yeah, exactly. The biscuits, I mean, they've got to be done right. I've had bad biscuits before where they've been a little bit too solid or crunchy. If they're nice and soft with just a little bit of crunch, and also served warm, that's when they're perfect. And then the gravy, I don't like it to be too chunky of a gravy. So a nice smooth Southern style gravy is really good. And then number three for me, I had a little trouble choosing, so I'm gonna go with the tie, just because one of them would be chocolate chip pancakes. Only reason it's tied with the other thing is because I rarely ever have them, so I feel like I built up a little bit of favoritism for the other thing, which is over easy eggs. Super easy to make if you can get the flip right, and when you pop that yolk, so satisfying. They always say if you put the right seasoning on. So yeah, I'd say it's a tie between over easy eggs and chocolate chip pancakes.
Do you have the over easy eggs with a nice toast on the side?
I generally like to have something to dip in the yolk when you pop it. So my go-to would probably be a sourdough toast, maybe. Also, if you have a hash browns or potatoes, those are great dipped in the yolk too.
Nice.
Yeah. So send it over to gang.
All right, number one, I went with pancakes. I just love the fluffiness of them. Number two, waffles. Yeah, just not as good as pancakes, but they're solid. And then number three, I went oatmeal because you could toss in some nice blueberries or pomegranate seeds or something. Really good.
All right. So unless there's any other food-related topics you were hoping to cover, Morch, I think we should be good. We went over all the categories at least a little bit. So thanks for coming on and sharing that with us. It was a pleasure to have you. Do you have any final topics you want to cover or any final words to share?
No final topics, but please, I can't stress this enough. Make sure you go fund your local businesses. All right, I don't know.
Nice.
Bye, guys.
Good
Thank
point.
you guys for
Good
having me.
point.
Hey, March.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cam.
So we have our third guest here, so we're gonna let her into the Zoom call.
Fresh off of what clearly must have been an 18-hole golf course,
That is
we
true.
have the Walsh siblings and apparently Audrey on
The
FaceTime.
Walsh eye, as they the Walsh eye.
The Walsh eye, as Danny has been saying.
Why don't you make it very spin? Can you make it
So-
so
That caught me a little bit off guard, honestly. But if you guys want to share with us your, what did we decide? Snacks or drinks?
I think
Drinks.
top 3 drinks.
I'm also a little confused on why Audrey's on FaceTime because she could just join the Zoom,
She
but
said she's tired.
Oh,
Why is it so quiet?
no, we don't want to hear from Audrey.
Okay, number 1 is Sprite because it's just
You
like
did explain.
I'm going to explain
Okay.
because it's just so refreshing. You can get it basically anywhere, and it's just like it's the best drink all around. Anyway, number 2 is green tea because it's so yummy.
oh,
Well, hot green tea though,
Ooh.
not cold. That's nasty.
Ugh.
Ow, that hurts. Green tea is good. Is so good for you too. Last one is water, basic, but I can't live without water. So
Okay, I said water. And then Shirley Temple and chocolate milk.
Keep in mind that when we first put this out, we asked ourselves what our favorite drinks were. Yono asked and had to clarify in a group chat if chocolate milk counted as a drink. So keep that in mind.
no, wait. Hold on. Let me give you a direct quotation because when I first read this text, I actually started laughing out loud because I was so confused. So I'm just gonna go back to it here. He says, "Is chocolate milk fair game for drinks?" Mike responds, "Yes," and then he says, "Or by drinks, did you mean more like soda or juice?"
wait, what do you consider a drink? Like
I thought you were implying soda juice. I think that was a fair question.
Okay, first bubble tea, of course, and orange juice and apple juice.
ew.
With those juices, what kind of are you like Minute Maid, Simply?
Ooh. Well, I don't really have a brand, but orange juice, no pulp.
Thank you. I agree.
That was nice.
Okay, so we can do a quick run through of our top 3 drinks now, and I'll start with Sprite is also my favorite drink. I don't think you can't really argue with Sprite as the best drink. I mean,
What about Sprite, Sierra Mist, 7?
oh, okay, Megan, please. Sierra Mist and 7-Up, like, I mean, why don't you just feed me poison? My number 2 choice is Limeade, which I think is one of the most slept on drinks in the world. Sparkling or non-sparkling, it hits every time. And it's a curveball from lemonade because lemonade is like a classic drink, summer drink. Limeade it's just on a different level. You know what I mean? And it can be a fancy like sparkling lemonade. You never see that served in a fancy context. Sparkling limeade, that's like okay, now we're getting fancy. And number 3 for me is my replacement drink at restaurants, and that's gonna be ginger ale. All right, Mike, you want to take next?
Yeah, sure. I'll do my top 3. So number 1, personally, I'm gonna have to go with lemonade. Just think it's a classic, especially over the summer. If you get a ice cold lemonade, nothing beats it. And then number 2, I'm gonna have to go with iced tea. More specifically, like basically any type of Arizona.
Oh, nice. I should have thought of that.
$1 for the tall can. No better bang for your buck than a can of Arizona. And then number 3, I'm gonna have to go with the blue Gatorade.
Ooh.
Gatorade's also a classic. Both, for sports and just as a refreshing drink, and I think blue is definitely the best color of Gatorade. So that's my top 3.
Nice. All right, I'm a go. So, drink number 1, chocolate milk.
Is that a drink
A
though?
great addition to breakfast. Any situation.
It's in a bit of a gray area.
Number 2, a smoothie. Banana mango smoothie.
Oh my gosh, I should have put smoothie.
Those are dope. Very refreshing in the summer. And number 3, I have lemonade.
Cream cheese.
All right, let's hear Matt's. Let's hear Matt's drink.
Yeah, I want to hear Matt's.
Like Jonah, I'm starting it off with chocolate milk because it's a
Nice.
great way to start off the day, and it's really refreshing after a hot day outside.
I don't know if I
Number
can
2, I'm gonna go with orange peach mango juice from Trader Joe's. It always hits different. And
Newman's
then
Own.
number 3, water.
All right, so I'm actually gonna go from 3, 2, 1 as opposed to 1, 2, 3 in this one. When I first did this, I actually had root beer float, which I feel like is drinkable, but you kind of need a spoon at the end, so I nixed it. I took it off. So for number 3, I'm going with Dole. It has to be Dole. Dole's banana peach mango.
Ooh.
Have you ever had that?
Hot take. I think that's pretty good.
Definitely a hot take, but I respect the choice.
All right, then number 2, I'm going with cream soda.
Always respectful.
But it has to be from the bottle. It can't be from a can.
Really? I don't know. I feel like the pink cans kind of hit.
No. It has to be from the glass bottle or nothing else.
All right.
Last bottle, or I send it back.
Then my top drink is green apple Gatorade. Right? It's pleasing to the eye. It's flavorful. It's viscous. It feels like it's thicker than most Gatorades, even though it's not. But it appears more viscous. I would love to be sponsored by Green Apple Gatorade, and it only comes in like the big bottle.
So we'd like to thank the Walshi and briefly Audrey for stopping by. Great preparation as usual. Not ideal with the whole Wii golf situation, but I'll let it slide this time because you came with a great question. So yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. It was a pleasure having you, and we hope you guys enjoyed and had fun.
Thank you.
Peace.
All right, guys. Before we go, we have a very special guest. He hasn't been able to make it to the past episodes that he's been scheduled to come on for. But here we have Jared Stotsky, fresh out of UMass Amherst.
Jared can't come. The Zoom's about to end, and
I actually, Yona, we
no, he can't come.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to virtual episode 2 of the Snack Run. Hopefully Jared can come on next time. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay healthy. Shout out Kemba Walker. We'll see you guys next time.